Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the SoCal Summer Swing Podcast. I am joined by the lovely Diego this week. Hello, my friend, and welcome.
Hello. Thank you.
We've tried to schedule this one, I think, 2 or 3 times, but Diego's been very flexible with both our schedules. So we're finally doing it. We finally got you on the podcast because
Finally.
you listened to it as well, right?
Yeah. I had a chance like a while ago. Well, a couple of weeks ago actually. I was traveling by land from Mexico City here. It's like an
Mhm.
8 hour drive. So I was like, yeah, you know what? I know exactly what to listen to. And boy, I was not ready. Like I was like, okay, I'm getting emotional here, like surrounded by people in a bus. But
Aw. Wait. So which one? Because we talked and you said you got emotional. Which one was it that you listened to that got you like feeling things?
so Amy's and Nick's. I just
Mm.
like just like not even thinking through names. Like I know exactly which ones. Um yeah, I think those two were the ones that really got me like, okay, those, yeah, just introspective and like thinking about stuff. And yeah. But yeah.
Oh man, that's really cool because today I know we're going to touch at some point on like community building and whatnot, which I'm very excited for. But before then, I have to ask for the people who don't know, Diego, give us a bit of information on who you are and where you dance.
Okay. Hi everyone, I'm Diego. I am a dancer from Mexico. I was brought up in Tijuana, so I grew up by the border, which explains why I don't have a. I still think like I have an accent, but it's not so thick, I guess.
Uh,
So yeah, I grew up in Tijuana. I only started dancing fairly recently here in Guadalajara. I currently live in Guadalajara and I started dancing here. And yeah, I've been dancing for almost 7 years now. Yeah, I don't know what else to say.
no, that's a good start. So, all right, Matt, 7 years ago was 2000 what? 2015,
17, 16?
2016. Oh, okay. So because apparently a trend I've been hearing of all the people on my podcast is everyone started dancing around 2014, 2015, around that time, you
Okay.
know? So
Oh,
I don't know if there was something in the water, but that's where you started, right?
yes, that's when I started. And it was
Okay.
really weird. There's a story behind that. So
Well, tell
I,
me.
I could have started when I was in high school, which is crazy to
Oh.
me. Like over like what, more than 20 years ago. No, not 20 years. I'm not that old. But like like 15-ish or more years ago. Because I
Mm-hmm.
I originally found out about Lindy Hop through my best friend from high school, who out of the blue one day sent me through Facebook, like Messenger, not yeah, you not
Yeah.
Facebook, MSN Messenger actually.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's
Mm-hmm.
the one you could like uh send Zooms and all that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so she sent me this YouTube video, which I never recognized until now. It was the Whitey's Lindy Hoppers doing the House of Poppin' scene.
Oh.
That was my
Mm-hmm.
first video ever for like Lindy Hop, and I was in high school. I was like amazed by it. I wanted to learn how to do this. I've always
Mm-hmm.
been really bad at dancing, like terrible. I had
Mm-hmm.
2 left feet in high school, and me and my friends started like looking at videos or looking for videos online to learn. We were living in TJ, but there's never been a scene in TJ or none that I could find.
Mm-hmm.
And the closest thing that was happening back there, and we're talking about like 2009, maybe 2008.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really find anything in like immediately San Diego, just like just across the border. So we gave
Mm-hmm.
up on that, and I kind of forgot about it. Then like life happened, and I finished high
Mm-hmm.
school, finished college, graduated, started working, and then one day, one of my work colleagues come like out of the blue says like, "Hey, there's this swing dancing workshop happening. Do you want to go?" And I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
And and I went to that, and that was 7 years ago, and I haven't stopped since.
Hey, no, you definitely haven't. And you mentioned something I want to touch on because a lot of people who start swing dancing, they say, "Oh, I'm a bad dancer. I have two left feet." And you, where you are now, I mean, you finaled at ILHC this year, right?
Yeah, I did the online solo comp. I
Uh-huh.
got finals
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And like,
unexpectedly.
I mean, you are a competent and good dancer. So how did you go from saying you have two left feet to like, oh, okay, I think I'm a good dancer now, right?
I mean, I don't believe myself to be a good dancer. I'm an okay dancer. I don't cringe as hard when I watch myself dancing.
Well, there you go. Yeah,
That's progress for me. Um,
yeah.
but I mean, isn't it always like that? Like, yeah, watching your own dancing, always like you're always looking out for the things you don't like. Anyways, how did I go from not dancing into dancing? Well, I guess I really didn't care at first. I when I started dancing, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't feel I was good at it,
Mm-hmm.
or like I only felt, or I try to focus on the connection to the music. Like I've always really
Mm.
been drawn to jazz music, and when I started dancing it for me it was only about, like listening to the music, enjoying the dance, and just that's it. I only started being a bit more like self-conscious about my dancing when I started like wanting to record videos of it. And then that was harsh because I did not, the dancing did not look the way it felt. And
Mm,
I think
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
that's that happens to a lot of people. I don't know. Or I heard that it does. And then, but still, like having recordings help me really look into, okay, you know what, you're doing this, or this is happening, are you doing that intentionally, like what intention,
Mm-hmm.
especially I think arms are a very common thing. Like I would just flail my arms all over, and just think seeing me doing that on video got me thinking like, oh wait, I want to be more intentional with my arms. And
Mm-hmm.
that's slowly how it started to get better, I think.
So, if I hear you correctly, you said that you intentionally watch videos and change the things that made you cringe to now you're like, okay, I think I like this better, right?
Yes. So especially, I think that's especially so with solo jazz. I I
Mm,
so I originally only did Lindy. I started, I mean, I didn't really get much like classes down here. It's very,
uh-huh.
still even now, like the offer for Lindy Hop and just swing classes is very small over here.
Mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm.
I started traveling, and I started like trying to get to events and being inspired by people, which we're going to talk about later, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
for sure.
looking, yeah, just like being inspired by teachers, and paying attention to classes and reviewing all of those videos that I took for like recap classes. And then I think this particular part about recording myself and looking at my own dancing kind of came
Mm-hmm,
to play fairly recently, yeah, I would say, because it's when I really got into solo dancing. So I started solo dancing by myself just because I was like, I want to do solo jazz. I
mm-hmm.
seen people do it. I can try it. Started giving it a try. But during the pandemic, I I um I was doing the Patreon that Natalia and Irina were doing, the
Yeah.
follow focus,
Mm-hmm,
and that like every single week I would be trying one of their solo challenges and recording myself like over and over and over until I was like happy with it, and then I
mm-hmm.
sent it for them to give me feedback, and that's when I started to really see differences in my solo dancing,
Oh,
which actually just also helped my Lindy Hop a lot, I think.
oh.
I'd like to think.
Oh, no, no, no. I can see that. I think it's been pretty common that instructors have said when you work on your solo jazz, it helps your Lindy Hop overall. I think it was Joe Hopper who said that because she does the same thing with iLindy. where you can send in like critique reviews and whatnot. That's really cool. So then would you say that Natalia and Irina really helped inspire you during the pandemic?
Oh, for sure. Like if it were not for them, I would not be dancing during the whole. Well, I danced through the pandemic because of Follow Focus,
Uh-huh.
and like I feel like I grew as a dancer thanks to that, and it was all like I'm really grateful for that. It was a great project. I'm not sure if they're still doing it, but it was amazing. And I also got to meet a lot of like amazing dancers there, which
Yeah.
I just like Corinne from San Diego. I think you've met her. Like
Mm-hmm.
when we met in person, we were like, "Oh, it's you from the videos," because we were we were sending each other like so you would upload the videos to a Facebook group. Everyone would
Uh-huh.
see them. So I would often see her videos and think, "Oh my God, she's amazing and she's a great dancer."
Yeah.
And yeah, we got to meet in person, and it was like, "Oh my God!" An immediate connection. We had like I don't know, it just we became friends immediately.
Dude, it's kind of crazy how when you meet certain people online, the connections that you make because Corinne, she's an amazing solo dancer, right? And the fact that you were able to meet her in person through that time of the pandemic, I think that's pretty beautiful. It speaks to like the community of like Lindy Hop overall, you know?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, for
Which
sure.
which actually brings me to the point of like traveling because you do travel quite a bit for dancing, right?
Try to travel as much as I can.
Yeah. And like so like I was gonna ask two questions. The first one is you mentioned I would love to hear more about dancing in Mexico because I'm very excited to go dance in Mexico in November. We'll talk about that later. But I also want to hear like your perspective on like dancing abroad and the difference between the two.
Yes. Okay, so whew, um well the difference. So here's the thing, right? So I had only been dancing for like 6 months
Mm-hmm.
when I had like my first major event, which was something that they were organizing down here called Swing Break. You might have
Mm-hmm.
heard of it. It was a great event. Like it's a week. It was a week-long event. I only went there for the weekend, and just
Mm-hmm.
being there for the weekend, just like dancing with the people who were there and experiencing like and it was basically an yeah like an exchange and
Yeah.
dancing with people from all over. Like there were people from Europe, from the States, from other parts of Mexico, and th- this is literally the first time I've seen anyone dance to a level that was more impressive to me than my Lindy Hop or my regular teacher at the time. So I
Right.
was like, and this is like Joe Hopper was there and Nikki Marvin was there and
Mm-hmm.
like they were performing and they were like just going at it. Actually, Benny White was there, and one thing that happened there that really made like got me inspired was that Benny White and his dance partner at the time, I can't remember her name, and a couple of dancers from Mexico City, which you'll get to meet because I think they're coming to GLX later. Um,
Uh-huh.
the four of them got together and created like a short choreo to present over the course of the week, and they presented it during the weekend. But the fun part is that Artie and Arturo and Yolanda, they're the Mexican dancers. They don't
Uh-huh.
speak a word of English, and
Oh.
Benny and his dance partner didn't speak any Spanish. They still got together and created this amazing routine that even to this day, like I still remember it, and it's like it was great. So,
Oh
anyways, after
man.
that, after that, what happened is that I know that I'm giving a lot of context for answering one question, but
No, 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 this is
getting
good.
there. So after that, this girl I met from Seattle told me about Camp Jitterbug, and she
Mm.
was like, "Oh, you should come over. Camp Jitterbug's great." And I was like, "You know what? Yeah, let's do it." And I booked my tickets. It was actually pretty cheap to fly there back then, like $150 round trip.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so Camp Jitterbug was my first experience dancing abroad, which was wild. Like the dancers in Seattle are amazing. There's great, like I was just astonished by the dancing and also the venue. The Century Ballroom is amazing. And
Mm-hmm.
just having, oh, and of course the live bands were I can't remember who was playing that year, but I do remember being like completely amazed by everything and being like, okay, something definitely changed then. Like something clicked differently. Because
Uh-huh.
up until then, and this is getting more to answering your question, like dancing over here, um, don't get me wrong, I love it. I love my community and I love how we're growing as a small thing and we're mostly dancing in public spaces and
Mm-hmm.
outdoors, which is great because it gives you a different sense of community and of being occupying spaces that would otherwise maybe not be full of art. And we help fill them with art. Um,
Yeah.
and we're also trying to like spread the word of Lindy Hop with the Lindy Hop Muggles in Mexico.
Yeah. Lindy Hop
um,
Muggles. Yes, I love it.
but then like, and then in the US, like you have so many people dancing, and everyone, or at least, yeah, I mean, everyone's such an amazing dancer, and there's competitions, and there's like amazing venues and bands that play for dancers, and you can tell that everything is like made to fit the experience
Mm,
and enjoying dancing altogether.
mm,
Whereas over
mm-hmm,
here, we kind of like have to make do with what we have to still enjoy
mm-hmm,
dancing. So
mm-hmm.
I think it's a very stark contrast. I, but there's like definitely like ups and downs to each of them. Um, but yeah, um, that's basically what I feel is like the biggest difference between, you know, like dancing abroad at like a major dance event versus dancing over here. And also, just to be fair, like I also I think you're very familiar with Lindy Groove. Just the venue you guys have and just being able to dance there like every week. To me,
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy. Like it's like wow. And for example, people in LA, I often tell this to my friends in LA and the surrounding area. Like you guys get to dance to Jonathan Stout very regularly. This
Mm-hmm.
is like it's a treat to me to be able to play
Mm-hmm.
to dance with Jay Stout, Michael Campbell. Like these are bands that I only hear on Spotify ever.
Yeah.
And getting to dance to them live is something really, really special to me. So I guess it makes me appreciate it a lot more. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so there's that as well. It's just it's different for sure.
Yeah. No, I definitely hear you. In terms of like SoCal and how we get a beautiful venue like Linda Groove, the great floor at Atomic, and having Jonathan Stout here, it's it is like a really true blessing for any swing dancers here because there are people all over the world who wish they could like experience Jonathan Stout especially or like the venues we have. So we
Hmm.
definitely don't take it for granted. And it sounds like you see you see like all the blessings because the way that you said it, I think was powerful is that when you dance in Guadalajara, you're dancing outside, you're more in the community, and you're spreading the gospel of Lindy Hop. Whereas here in the States, Lindy Hop is already pretty fairly well known. And so there's like just more people doing it, hence like
Yeah.
the amount of dancing that happens. Is that accurate?
Yeah. Yeah. Spot on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, I will say, the spirit. I made a video. Diego asked me to make a video for GLX, which we'll talk about later. But
We're
I
still
did
editing
talk.
it, but yeah.
Yeah. But I did want to say like when you dance, like when I see you dance, I can see like how happy, how joyous, and how much spirit you put into your movement and the intentionality you do. So I only imagine that since you're a scene leader down in Mexico, you try to do the same or teach that same type of spirit. Is that right?
I don't the thing is like when I start dancing, it's very hard for me to stop smiling. Like I
Hey.
can't, and it's just like I can't be dancing like frowning or not being happy while dancing. So it's not
Hmm.
I don't do it something, or it's not something that I do consciously, so I can't really teach it to people. But I try to
Mm-hmm.
like share with them what makes me enjoy dancing so much. And I feel like the more I've learned of the dance, both in like learning how to move my body to the music and respond to the music,
Hmm.
but also like learning about the history of it and like the culture that comes with it.
Mm.
Like the more I can appreciate the dance, and then I get into this sort of trance when I'm dancing, and it's like I just give myself into the music and the moment, and I get lost and I just can't stop smiling. So if I get to transmit that to people, and other people can see me dancing and think, hey, that looks like a lot of fun, I should give it a try. That's like that's a win for me. And
Yeah.
that's yeah.
That the it's infectious when someone has the energy, when someone having fun, and they literally just don't care about anything else, but they're having fun with their partner, and you watch that. That truly is infectious. And so I feel like I saw that in you when you competed at Atomic
Thanks.
for, I think it was, when was it? Because you came and you did the mix and match with at Atomic for minor swing, one of the minor swings.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think yeah, I remember that. I was dancing with Skeeter.
Yeah. That one. And I remember just watching and being like, that dude's having fun. That dude's having a great time.
I mean, it's hard. You know what? There have been times when I get too like inside my head,
Mm,
and that's when I don't connect with my body, with the music, with the person I'm
hmm.
dancing with. And that's when I would say like it's not as enjoyable versus just like letting loose and just being there, being present. It's very different. But I mean, it's sometimes hard. Like you can't really control when you're gonna be like all inside your head.
Oh, no, I fully get that. I'm currently kind of in a dance funk right now because I don't get to dance as much,
Mm,
right? And like I know that there are other dancers who get the same way where they get in their head, but when we're on. Like we're
yeah,
hitting everything. We're Our swing arts are tight and like our footwork is on point. So I feel like as far as a dancer, it ebbs and flows, but different dancers
right.
have different tactics of how to like address that. So I'm curious, when you get into that headspace, what helps you?
Well, it's that's a really good question. Like I can only think of like very few instances with where this has happened to me. Like I think the most recent one that I remember was at Lindy Fest. I made finals, and I it happened like it during finals, which is like the worst moment that this could happen. I just like
Yeah.
I disconnected, and I was like very inside my head trying to like overthink
Hmm.
things while also dancing. So again, it happened. You can't really like look back to that and say like be sorry for it or whatever. Um, as far as like it being like this is actually a really good. It's leading me to a very good thought. Like
Okay.
having these like dance kind of like downs happens to me usually when I come back from like a major event from the US to Mexico.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. I mean it and it I mean you can well actually funnily enough it didn't happen this time around at Lindy Fest,
Hmm.
but that made me realize something really big. So before before this year's Lindy Fest, every time I would go
Hmm.
to a dance event, I would come back and be kind of like I've heard people say swung over, and
Hmm.
that's partially it, but also you know what? Well, you can imagine, right? Right, like going from being in this. environment where everything is made to enjoy Lindy Hop, and like there's also amazing dancers that, just parenthesis here, one of my favorite activities at the social dance besides dancing is watching people dance. Like
Mm-hmm.
especially finding these people that really transmit energy and fun, and just like
Mm-hmm.
enjoying their dance with them. So you don't, I don't really get much of that here, and it's a very small scene, at least in Guadalajara. We're still growing, and there's people. Of course, there's always going to be people who inspire you in different ways,
Mm-hmm.
but that level of being just amazed at what someone else is doing on the dance floor and the way they're hitting something in the music, and you're like, wow, what's happening? This is amazing.
Yeah.
That's also part of like what I start missing. So it's the venues, it's the music, it's the that part of the dancing, or that
Mm-hmm.
sort of inspiration. And I when I in the past, when I've been back here, I've I've felt like a yearning for that, or
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like a longing and saying or thinking, I wish I had that here. But
Mm-hmm.
this year was really different. Like after Lindy Fest, it really changed things for me. Like it made me come back and be more intentional, or more like willing to look at my scene and think, okay, you know what? Let's get things moving. I know we can do it. And then if there's amazing things that can lead to having a dance like that in the States, we can also do that here in Mexico. So that.
Mm-hmm.
I got that sort of energy from Lindy Fest, and then I brought it back here, and I've been like dancing my feet off with the people here, and just trying to like work with organizing and all that. So yeah, I mean that's it. Did I
I
answer your
feel
question? I
like
feel
no,
like
no, no.
I went on many tangents.
Oh, no, no, no. This is great. This is actually perfect because this is a perfect segue into us talking about how you brought that feeling or you're bringing that feeling to your home scene because you organize an event, right?
Yeah, it's my first time organizing, so I'm very intimidated.
Oh,
And
no, no, no. You've got the right people and you're doing great. You're doing great.
I mean, you've given me a lot of good advice. But yeah, I'm organizing like the first exchange per se in Mexico. Like there's been a big events here, but they've always been very focused on workshops as well as like dancing. Whereas I
Mhm.
felt we didn't have the opportunity to just like dance and have like live bands and a proper venue, and have try to get people from all over Mexico and all over from other countries to visit and dance and get to know the dancers from here and inspire them.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
know that like so the level of dancing may not be, like amazing, or we may not have that technique that probably characterizes people or dancing from other places. But I'm a very strong believer that, well, we're people, right? Like everyone has something that they're amazing at and that they can bring into the conversation, whether in
Mhm.
dance or outside of dance. And
Mhm.
just that part of the community and getting to meet people through dance is also what I'm trying to kind of like embrace or encourage in this event. So
Oh
yes,
yeah.
trying to like get people dancing a lot, but also getting people to know each other and be, um I don't know what the word is in English, um like enrich each other, if that's a word. I don't know.
Mm. No, no, no.
Like
I get what you're saying. Like you want
make
people
each other grow.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You want people to build a community together, get to know each other, and just be more connected. I feel like that's a great word. Be
Yeah.
more connected.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well, let's talk about GLX a little bit more because there might be some people listening to this podcast that have not heard of it, and so they might be interested. But let's go ahead and talk about that a bit more. So the reason why I wanted to talk more about GLX is I would love for you to tell us more about what it is, your vision for it, because all of the marketing has been amazing. And I think that people deserve to hear what they're about to experience when they go. Because I
Oh
know I'm for sure
boy,
going and I want other people to come. So like let us know what's in the works for
time for a shameless plug.
it.
Okay, here goes. Um, we still need to do a lot more like advertising, but yeah, it's gonna be a 3-day weekend, like a 3-day event, Lindy Exchange, from November 17th through 19th. We're
Mhm,
planning to have local bands live each night, playing like 3 hours of music, plus, like band breaks. That's not accounting for band breaks, and then late night dances. Over here, it's very rare to have dances that go for that long, and
mhm,
having
mhm,
three of them in a row will be. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a probably a new experience for a lot of people here because a lot of people don't get to travel that often, but
mhm,
also like it's amazing. Like you probably know the feeling that when you're dancing so much over such a short period of time, your body just starts like coming up with new things and you start like getting into different grooves. So
yeah, yeah,
uh
yeah.
part of the intent of this event is getting to show this to my local scene and to
Mm,
dancers in Mexico and tell them like, hey, you know what, there's people doing this in a way bigger scale in events in the US and in Chile, in Argentina, like all
mhm,
around across the world. So that's one thing, like getting to open the borders like of dancing from our Mexican scene outwards, because people tend to
mhm,
be very intimidated or don't really think of traveling for dancing.
mhm,
And I want to like make it clear that it's amazing to do it, but also the opposite. Like I feel a lot of people from the States or from other places traveling to Mexico don't realize that there's a thriving Lindy Hop scene here and that there's
mhm,
places where you can go and dance and communicate with people through dancing, but also like make bonds and make friendships and just I don't know, get a lot out of it. Like by being part of the same community, people really open the doors or just like embrace you and try to make you feel welcome. So
mhm.
I feel like it's it's not often that you get people from other places or I'm mostly talking about the States because it's like the Lindy Hop scene. I mean, it's not like it's one scene in the States, but where I've been dancing to when I go traveling the most. And it's
Um,
not often that you see people traveling to Mexico City or something and traveling for something Lindy Hop related, where
mhm,
there's things happening. And if you're in touch with people who live here or can get you in touch with what events are happening, then it'd be great. It's always great to add on to your trips with Lindy Hop. So just get my idea is to basically tear down the borders of traveling for dancing both into and outside of Mexico, um,
mhm,
through Lindy Hop and just overcoming the language barrier. I feel like a lot of people get very intimidated by it, but
mhm.
I've seen it firsthand with that routine that Benny and Artie and Irlanda made. Like they couldn't understand each other speaking, and they came up with this fantastic routine in like a couple of days. So if they could do that, like anything's possible.
Oh, 100%. I know that I'm really excited because, for one, I get to experience Guadalajara and Mexico in a way that's different than I have before. Because the only times when I've gone to Mexico, and I think a lot of people can attest to this, is they've gone to Cancun or they've gone to the beach, and they haven't
Yeah.
like experienced like truly experienced what Mexico can offer. So I feel like blending Lindy Hop and that travel experience and that community is going to be so great. And Cammy's coming, And Cammy's been there so many times, and so I feel like
Yeah.
that will also be phenomenal, you know?
Yeah, Cammy, at this point, she's a veteran. She's visited me like I can't remember if it's like 2 or 3 times already, but she stayed here for like a week at a time, and she knows my neighborhood better than I do at this point.
Yeah, she's pretty phenomenal. Now, if anyone is listening right now and they're wondering, like, okay, we're talking about GLX, which stands for Guadalajara Lindy Exchange, right? I'll put all of the links in down in the footer, but you should know that I haven't told you this yet, Diego, but I have like 4 or 5 people from SoCal who are already
Ooh,
talking to me about housing and what are the details, and so I've sent them the website and whatnot. So I'm planning to bring a lot of people, which actually
that's great.
I
Thank
yeah,
you.
I guess I should say that you are bringing some DJs, some like really great DJs. uh, I know that you're bringing myself as well as
Yeah.
Kevin Yuen, and you brought one other friend of yours from
Yes.
Chile. Is that right?
Yeah, Eloisa Pino from Chile is gonna be visiting, and she will be DJing. And Gabriela Novelino, a lot of people may know her from she works very closely with Lindy, and
Mm-hmm.
she's also like a fabulous dancer from Brazil. They're both
Mm-hmm.
gonna be visiting, and Gabriela is gonna be the MC, which I felt was a great fit for the event, like just
Yeah.
overcoming language barriers. Like, yeah, yeah, and she's also amazing. Like, she has the best energy, so I'm really excited for that as well.
Oh man, you've got like some good people coming. Like
Oh no, and
Kevin.
there's more to come. Like,
Ooh.
yeah, but I haven't added more to the official schedule for now, but I am so you shared very kindly some ideas of like adding some workshops, like some taster classes during the maybe the more probably slow hours for dancing, which would be like
Mm-hmm.
when the doors open at 7 p.m. each night.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm actually taking you up on that, and there's gonna be some taster lessons for Balboa and Shag, and probably I'm we're still deciding on whether to do solo jazz or Lindy Hop,
Uh-huh.
but both national and international teachers that are gonna be sharing what they know. So it's gonna be really interesting. As just it's gonna be great. And there's also one other surprise that I still haven't announced. It's pretty big. It's gonna
Uh-huh.
draw a lot of attention. It's gonna be really fun. Uh, I, I, I sadly I cannot share it right now because it's still in the works.
Ah!
I'll tell you after, so you can
Okay.
know about it. You can get excited about it with me, but it's not 100% official, so I can't just I can't share it just now. But if you follow us on social media, you'll get to know of it.
There you go. So the social media links will be down below. And can I just say, the fact that you're this excited about it, I think speaks to how awesome this event is going to be because you're putting so much time, energy, effort into making sure that it's a dance that will essentially grow your scene and spread like what Lindy Hop can be in Guadalajara, right?
For sure. And Guadalajara and Mexico, like
Mm.
I also wanna I'm counting on having the entirety of the bulk or the bulk of the Mexico City scene, which is like the biggest in the country, and also people from Querétaro, from Puebla, from Playa del Carmen. People are already signing up, and they're making plans to come over. So you'll get to meet people from all over Mexico and dance with them and see what it's like. So it's gonna be great. I'm really excited about it.
Dude, that is that's so nice that people are from all over the country are already planning to go because I feel like that speaks to the community aspect of Mexico, which is kind of like where I want to go next because you care a lot about community. Like that's very important to you and like so is scene building, yeah?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I mean you said it. Um, yeah, I so after the pandemic, I feel like the scene here really took a hit. We were already like a small scene on our baby steps to like growing and getting better and whatnot. But
Hmm.
I feel like the only real way to grow in numbers and grow as a scene is to build community. Um,
Mm-hmm.
just having that connection with people is what brings people to dance, right? Um, and just also like adding that aspect of um, connecting to a different culture and
Mm-hmm.
embracing the history and the roots of this dance and getting to know them as well
Mm-hmm.
just makes it like a complete thing. So you need to build communities based off of like you're connecting with people, you're bonding with people. Dancing with someone is a bonding experience. At least to me, it is. Like you get to
Mm-hmm.
know people through dance, or you get to know so much of people through dancing. And then when you add the context that Lindy Hop and swing brings to the table, it just that you're connecting with people that align with these ideas, or yeah, they do align to these ideas. So that you're meeting good people, and that's what I feel, and that's what I want to keep feeling. So as far as community building here in Mexico, it's I mean each country, mm, each ethnic group, I guess, has their own like flavor,
Mm-hmm.
and Mexicans are known for being very hospitable and being very warm with people and
Yeah.
being very drunk all the time. No, no, just kidding. um, but I'm very confident that there's a lot that we as a culture can bring to the table and share and help bring to the national, or not national, the international community. And
Mm-hmm.
that's sort of like what I really want to exploit. Like I want there to be a connection with the scene in Mexico and the international scene, because I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that's a connection that hasn't been made or hasn't been exploited. When you think, for example, US and Canada, I mean not only like socially or economically, but in Lindy Hop, the connection's there, right? And
Mm-hmm.
same with other countries. And I feel it's not the same way here. And yeah, that's I don't know if I'm making a point here, but
No, I think that you're touching on a lot of key important things. Like what I hear you say is that you really appreciate how the Lindy Hop community tends to just bridge a lot of barriers because
mhm.
of the dance. And when you connect and dance with someone or bond with someone, like you say, well, then it kind of deepens that friendship or that relationship so that you can grow as a friendship faster than you can other hobbies, you know?
Oh, for sure. Yes, that
And
has been my experience.
yeah, because I mean, I in past podcasts we've talked about how when you dance with someone, you're having a fit, you're physically touching someone, you're listening to music, and everyone else is doing the same thing around you. So it combines the three things that all humans need, which is touch, community, and art. Art being the music. And so I feel like that when you do that with someone, it really deepens your connection to that place, that person, and that community, which kind of grows it together, which is what I feel like you're doing with Guadalajara Lindy Exchange, honestly.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I yes, totally.
Uh,
I never thought of it like that, but it makes so much sense.
the pandemic, I think, brought a lot of clarity to a lot of people. And I can't take credit for the idea. I was having a really great chat with some friends back in Indiana, and someone brought that up. I don't remember who, but it totally makes sense. So I think that's what speaks to what you're talking about the community piece. Now, community is also very connected to scene building because you're part of the scene building scene or the group of people that are trying to build the scene in Guadalajara, right? Like, what are the challenges you face there?
Well, I did talk about it a little bit, like the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't dance. People were not in a place where they wanted or they were. I mean, it was a rough time for everyone. Not everyone
Mm-hmm,
had the energy or the emotional kind of like resources to have the time and put the effort into dancing.
mm-hmm,
So from being a small scene, we were almost like completely wiped out, and we've been slowly
mm-hmm,
trying to rebuild. I think one of
mm-hmm,
the bigger challenges is getting to grow or get a bigger base of dancers from the start, and then
mm-hmm,
from there, just being able to really connect with them in a way that they want to stay long
mm-hmm.
term, and that they're also like, and I think you said it, or I don't know if you said this, but I think you did. No, yeah. Oh, okay. So I'm gonna sound like a big stalker here, but I I watched the video of your toast for the wedding that you just went to in Cancun, and no, the way like you opened with something that resonates with me, like, and it's resonated with me always, and it's that you don't have time for people or for things. You make time for people and things, and just having or connecting to people or connecting with people through dance in a way that makes them want to invest their time and energy into dancing. I think that's been one of the major challenges here because there's so many things to do. Like, and there's a lot of activities that people would rather do than swing dancing. I think it's also because
Mm-hmm.
it's not as popular or it's not as well known. For example,
Mm-hmm.
salsa, bachata, cumbia, all of the Latin dancers, there's like already very big and very well established communities. There's lots
Mm-hmm.
of opportunities where you can dance those styles, and it's part of like the culture here already. So I'm not gonna say we're fighting for that, but it's understandable when people just think, yeah, you know what, I'd rather do this dance that I have so many opportunities and so many spaces and people that I can dance with versus this other dance that even if they like Lindy Hop and they like swing music, sadly there's not that many chances and there's not that many people to dance with. So it's kind of like a vicious circle of we can't grow the scene a lot because there's
Mm-hmm.
already a small scene. So we need to grow little by little. And that's I feel like that's been one of the biggest challenges so far. Like regrowing the
Yeah.
scene, getting people to stay.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely hear you because when you think of scenes that are established, you think of like the US, Canada, Korea has like South Korea has a really
Oh,
great scene that's established and whatnot. But I feel like this can kind of go in tandem with the podcast that's coming out in July about how to grow college scenes. That's a different environment, but I think that you bring up some very specific points of trying to create that connection and then helping people realize that that time, if you make something worthwhile, and then people will be willing to put the time and energy into it, right? Um, I know that we have some listeners on the podcast in Australia, so shout out to you all real
oh,
quick. Um, if you all wanted to think about um, that portion, because I think there's one or two people who reached out about like scene building there, but I feel like that connection, what you were talking about, of making that connection, making it worthwhile, will draw people in. Because I'm
mhm.
a firm believer that people don't they don't necessarily remember what you say or what you do, but they'll remember how you make them feel. So if you make a
Mm,
dance experience one that is memorable and fun, well, then it will really carry over so that people are like, I want to do that because
yes,
it's fun and it made me feel like I want to be connected to it, right?
of course. And yeah, you worded it perfectly. Like dancing with someone, dancing Lindy Hop with someone, especially. I feel like Lindy Hop allows you to express so much of who you are in the dance that I feel that that's what really sets it apart for me and many other things. But that's one of the key aspects that I feel this is something that I really enjoy about dancing with someone. Um, d- Dancing Lindy Hop or any other swing dance. I only know how to do a little bit of ballad. Never mind. So, but what I'm saying is that you get to experience that person in a dance way, right?
Hmm, hmm.
And then that's really fun and you enjoy it and it's very memorable. Maybe you don't remember the exact dance that you have, but you remember the feeling. And
Mm,
that feeling, just like you said it, like that's what's gonna get people hooked into that and be like, hey, you know what? I can share similar feelings with other people. And I feel like also like going back to the exchange part, like that's what makes people be able to communicate even without words. You're dancing, you're
mm-hmm,
speaking the same dance language, and you're
mm-hmm,
getting to express your musicality and your ideas in the dance with someone else. Without it, like I actually not. You mentioned Korea. I was there in 2020 for work, and I
mm-hmm,
got the chance to social dance there. I don't speak any Korean, and I danced. I had like some amazing dances with people that I don't even remember their names because I couldn't communicate with them. But we
mm-hmm,
still connected through dance, and I felt like that was really magical. And I still remember how I felt dancing with those people, even though I don't remember their names or maybe even their faces. Or so it's something truly magical to me. Like I really enjoy it, and I just want more people to enjoy the same.
yeah, dude. Oh man, such a good point of like, ah, I don't even know what else to add. That was just chef's kiss right there, man. um, that being said, before we start winding down the episode, is there anything else that you wanted to touch on? Anything that we didn't talk about yet that you wanted to us to explore a bit?
um, I think we've had a pretty good chat so far. And we didn't like approach it just like head on the topic of like inspiring people and being inspired by others. But I feel like it's been there all the time throughout what we've been
Mm,
talking. Like
mm-hmm,
I keep thinking to myself when answering some things or talking about an experience, I'm like, oh, this is when someone inspired me, or this is when I could have helped inspire someone. So it's
mm-hmm.
still there. So yeah, that I feel like it's been great. Yeah.
I mean, you brought up some really good points. I mean, you brought up Follow Focus and iLindy. For those listening who don't know what Follow Focus and
Mhm.
iLindy is, I'll put those links down in the description so you can check that out. And anything we talked about, so Irina,
Mhm.
Natalia, Swing Break, and whatnot, all of those things are going to be down in the comments. Now, I will be remiss if I didn't also talk about Lindy Maya, which is happening
Mhm.
like the weekend right before
Right.
um, GLX. So I'm also DJing at Lindy Maya. So if people want to do like a two
Yeah.
weekender in Mexico with me, I'm so down.
For
Okay.
sure. And actually for people interested in that, I have been talking with the organizer for Lindy Maya, Tim Collins,
Hmm.
and we're thinking of cooking up some sort of like special offer to those people who are interested in like participating in all of these like we're jokingly calling it like swing toño. Otoño is
Hey.
the word for autumn in Spanish, so it's like
Uh-huh.
swing otoño. Um, so yeah, stay tuned for more information on that. I'm pretty sure that we'll announce something really soon on both the Lindy Maya Instagram as well as the Guadalajara Lindy Exchange Instagram page.
Yeah, I mean, this is my plan. I'm gonna go to Cancun for this all-inclusive event, and then I'm gonna spend the week in Mexico, try dance at like as many of the local scenes as possible, and
Ah,
then go to GLX for the end of the weekend. So if anyone
oh
wants to go on
man.
a crazy adventure with me, please let me know. That would be a blast.
That sounds great. I can help you plan your trips for sure.
I mean, I was gonna message you anyway, be like, "Yo, where do I go?" Okay, so to start winding down the episode, a couple things. So the first thing I wanted to ask is if people wanted to know more about GLX or maybe follow you on Instagram because they want to follow your story, what websites and Instagrams would they go?
Right. So my personal Instagram, which I'll mostly use for dancing, is called Swing Tanuki.
Ooh,
Um,
mhm.
then well, I started this uh, group of people or this collective. It's a collective. So we're all trying to like build community together in Guadalajara. We're turning actually 5 years this year. It's called Guadalajara Lindy Society. You
Hmm.
can find us on Instagram and Facebook as well. And yeah, well, the Instagram and Facebook page or Facebook event for the event in November, it's Guadalajara Lindy Exchange. You can find us like that on social media, and yeah.
Well, that's amazing. That's all going to be down below. So the second question, since we're talking about traveling and whatnot, is where are you planning to travel for the rest of the year?
Yeah, actually, it's it's wild to me to think that this has been a year full of travel so far.
Mm.
Like I'm going to Mexico City this weekend for a
Uh-huh.
dance event. And next month I'm gonna be in Europe for well, actually my friend who present or introduced me to Lindy Hop in high school. She's getting
Hmm.
married in France, so I'm gonna go to her wedding.
Oh, nice.
And then, so I'm gonna take the chance to go to this event happening in uh, Clermont-Ferrand. I don't know if
Hmm.
I butchered that. It's in France. I think Studio Hop is organizing it. It's called Lindy Hop Summer Camp. I'm gonna be there
Hmm.
for a full week, and that's gonna be in July 22nd to through 29th.
Hmm.
Um, and then from there, I'm coming back to Mexico. Then I'm going to be at Camp Hollywood because that's a staple for me now, and I bet I'm gonna see you there.
Hmm. Yeah.
And sadly, I don't think I'll be doing much traveling in between that and GLX. So that's it for me for the rest of the year, I think.
No, that's some good stuff. I mean, we're looking forward to seeing you in at Camp Hollywood. Maybe you can sneak in a SoCal trip again to like come and hang out with us for a weekend or something, so we can go out to eat and hang out or have
Yeah,
some
for
drinks or
sure.
something.
And actually, dude, like I've been meaning to organize a trip down to TJ, like
Uh-huh.
getting people down. Food in TJ is amazing. And like I feel also people often don't just like visit TJ without knowing where to go. So I've been
Uh-huh.
actually talking with Cami about this and trying to like organize like a big group of people to come down and like eat your way around Tijuana and just like get to see the city and then just like a 1 day trip and back to San Diego. It's
I
it's simple as that.
I would be down for that. I'm gonna message her later, be like, hey, I want to go. I think right now she's in Europe, so I'll message her when she gets back.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
she is.
okay, and the last question that I have that I ask on all of my podcasts for you veteran listeners who listen to everything like Sandy, which we appreciate you for. The question is, what's a message you want to leave for all swing dancers that are listening?
Yeah. And yeah, it's a message that I want to give to everyone is this is something that came from Evita in one of our talks and during one of her classes. And it really resonates with me right now. And it's the fact that we're all people. And like we're even though we're dancing and we're meeting each other in the context of dance, we're so much more than that. And we have so many different sides to each other. So the amount of wealth that you can gain like culturally or gastronomically just like there's so much you can gain from meeting and connecting with people
Hmm.
that it's not only about like the dancing and I mean it is because we're meeting in this context but it's a tool to be a community and then like make each other better in all the multiple facets that we have as human beings. So we're
Hmm.
all people in the end, and we're all dancers, and we should use that to our advantage to like connect and build like strong and lasting and happy relationships and friendships. So yeah, that's kind of like where my mind is at right now. Just really pushing the idea of or thinking about the idea of just communicating and building community and sharing and bonding through dance, because there's so much to gain from that.
Man, that's it. There's nothing else I need to add to what you just said there. That was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Well, Diego, thank you so much. I'm gonna go to the
Well,
end
thank
here,
you.
but don't go anywhere after I finish recording. But to all of our listeners, as usual, thank you so much for listening and staying to the end. For those of you who stick to the very end, the word for today that you need to put in the comments on YouTube is GLX. So if you stayed here till the end, put GLX in the comments, and then we'll make sure to shout you all out on the next one. Okay. I think the last
Cool.
one we had, I need to double check. I know Sandy did it. And then there's a new podcast that is a new swing dance podcast that's coming out of Seattle that I'll talk about next week. So there's also people doing that. So I will definitely talk about it later. But for everyone who listened, thank you so much. If you're not subscribed to us on YouTube, please go subscribe there, because maybe you'll get the episode early if you subscribe to YouTube. I don't know, maybe. So check that out. If you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Music or anything, please follow us and give us a 5-star rating. That helps out our channel. And so, yeah, that's all we got. Diego, thank you so much for being here, good sir.
No, thank you for having me, and looking forward to seeing you later this year.
Oh, it's going to be so fun. Everyone else, thank you so much. And we hope you have a wonderful evening. And we'll see you all later.
Thank you so much for lending us your ears on the SoCal Summer Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram, Spotify, and subscribe to us on YouTube. We're looking forward to putting out some great episodes for you, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.